Good afternoon and welcome to the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Secretary, will you please take roll?
Assembly members Anderson, Carter, Cole, Hardy, Haudegi, Kasama, Miller, Monroe Moreno, O'Neill, Roth, Torres Fawcett, Yeager, Urick, and Chair Marzola.
I am present. Please mark Assemblymember O'Neill absent excuse and Assemblymember Torres Fawcett absent excuse, and please mark Assemblymember Kasama present when she arrives. Welcome everyone that is joining us here in Carson City. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas and those tuning in over the internet. Today we will hear three bills: Senate Bill 49, Senate Bill 311, and Senate Bill 437. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping announcements. Members of the public may provide testimony in various ways, all of which are listed on the agenda. When testifying, please remember to turn on your microphone to speak and off to listen. Also remember to state and spell your name for the record. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 20 copies to the committee secretary. Committee information is available on the legislature's website. You may also watch our meetings through the legislature's YouTube channel. I expect courtesy and respect in all our interactions, even if we may not agree. Finally, please remember to put all of your electronic devices, especially your cell phones, either off or on silent mode. And with that, we will move to our first agenda item, Senate Bill 49. This measure revises provisions relating to consumer protection. Good afternoon. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mark Kruger, for the record. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be here today to introduce SB 49. Senate Bill 49 is essentially a consumer protection cleanup bill. I thought I'd just bring you through the high-level overview of what the bill does. Sections 1 and 2 were deleted by amendment. Section 3 clarifies the authority of the Attorney General to bring causes of action on behalf of the state, its agencies, or persons as parens patriae. Section 4 increases the penalty for administrative fines so that it's consistent with the penalty for other fines within Chapter 598. And Section 5 through 10 were deleted by amendment. Section 11 clarifies the permissible use of the funds by the Attorney General's office and specifically the Bureau of Consumer Protection. The Governor's Finance Office and AG Fiscal identified a need for further clarification to ensure that the budgets were separately maintained. Section 12 provides that the language provides additional clarification to assist with litigation. We note that there was an additional minor amendment to ensure that documents are confidential at the time they were turned over, and we have provided those, I believe, to the committee. I know that it was sent in through Nellis, and there were some at the desk as you entered the room. Section 12.5 is a required section for Section 12, and Section 13 is the effective date. And with that, I will conclude my testimony and am open to taking questions.
Thank you for your bill presentation and going over the bill. Can you give us a little bit of background? Why did you bring this bill forward?
Absolutely. Mark Kruger for the record. And just in case I didn't say, I am Chief Deputy Attorney General with the Bureau of Consumer Protection within the Attorney General's office. Throughout time, we work with other state agencies and federal agencies as well to bring actions, many times in a multi-state manner. And what we noticed was when we had made some amendments primarily in 2021, but also in 2023, that there were some concerns about some of the way that the language was structured. So we wanted to clean up provisions of this language in Chapter 598 so that it would be, I guess, eliminate any ambiguity, make it very clear that what have the authority to do and how we can do it. The other reason we did was in 2023, we increased the fine amount, the general fine amount for violations of Chapter 598. And while we can bring a district court action, we noticed that the fine amount wasn't increased for an administrative action. So it actually helps companies in a lot of ways, because district court actions can become very expensive very quickly, and administrative actions can be a little bit more efficient. So that gives us the ability to go either route, depending on the type of violation and severity of the violation. So it makes it consistent. That's pretty much in sum the reasons for the changes to the chapter, and we deleted some amendments and stuff just to make sure we were looking for a neutral bill so that we didn't have any opposition.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer. Committee members, are there any additional questions? Assemblymember Cole.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just to follow up on the concept of the administrative fine. So what I'm understanding you to mean is in that section, you're increasing it to not more than 15,000, so that if you wanted to bring something that's, sharper, right, than $1,000, you could do it in an administrative way rather than bring somebody to court, correct?
Mark Kruger for the record, Assemblymember Marzullo, Chair, through you.
You can go direct.
Thank you. Assemblymember Cole, that is correct. It's just to make it consistent so we can go either district court or administratively.
Committee members, any questions? I don't see any. So if you want to step back so we can begin with support testimony. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 49? I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. To provide testimony in support, please press *9 now to join the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. We will move to testimony in opposition. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? I don't see anyone. Still no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. We will move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral of Senate Bill 49? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, members of the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Brian Wachter, BRYAN-WACHTER. I serve as the Senior Vice President of the Retail Association of Nevada. We do appreciate the Attorney General and Mrs. Benitez Thompson working with stakeholders, including the Retail Association, on this. We feel that this amendment and the version that you have in front of you aligns with their intent in a way that is not prohibitive to retailers in Nevada, and so we appreciate being able to work with them on the measure.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Andy McKay, I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada Franchise Auto Dealers Association. I want to echo the comments made by Mr. Wachter, but it's important that I put it out there on the record and thank AG Ford, Ms. Benitez Thompson, as well as Mr. Kruger. We had a stakeholder working group a few months back, went back and forth, and personally went from being extremely opposed to neutral. We want to thank them for working with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in neutral? I don't see anyone. Still no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers choosing to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you. Would you like to give any final remarks? No. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 49. I will now open the hearing on Senate Bill 311, which imposes certain requirements upon certain alarm companies. Welcome, Senator Ellison. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm going to say the thing you never say. This is an easy bill. Probably won't be, but I'm John Ellison from District 19, which includes from the Idaho border, the Utah border, all the way to the California border. So if you look at half the state, you'll see my district all the way down. And somebody won't lend me his airplane to get back and forth, but it's interesting to have a district that large and such a difference of people. So I enjoy it, but it's challenging at times getting all them districts up there. But I'm here today to introduce Senate Bill 311. This bill, it is an alarm bill, and it's funny because when I introduced the bill in the Senate, I put it for rural areas only, and because I was asked to cut out Vegas and Reno, Washoe. As I did that, I come to find out that 3 people on the committee is having the same problem we have. So it's amazing the service from alarm companies. We're not getting nowhere. And Senator Gogachia bought the best system you could buy anywhere for Eureka County. I mean, top of the line with extra security and a larger warranty. And I'll be dang, about 3 or 4 months later, it went down. He couldn't get anybody out there for no reason. So he finally had to go to the AG's office or where he went to try to get somebody out there to fix and maintain this. I mean, they had to go to that point to get anybody out there to maintain these things. They'll sell you the system, and you'll look in Elko, you'll see their trucks everywhere, and they're selling systems, but when they break, you can't get them out there. And so, and I have several. I've got them in different businesses. I've got them in my homes. I got them all over. So what's bad is when you need that system in some areas, you've got to make sure they're going to work. Well, the problem is you can't get them to maintain them. You know, I put in this bill years ago, and we started to go through it, and they insisted that don't go through with the bill, and we promise we'll get them maintained. That never happened. So I even asked them here just recently to just come in and replace the whole system, and mostly my electrical company, because my laundromat's on one side, my electrical company is on the other side, and we have several outbuildings that's protected by alarm companies. You know, guess what? Didn't happen. So I was robbed twice. That created a lot of funds, you know, away from us. And then I had one that just my wife, deceased wife, had a big dinner ring, diamond ring, and a cross worth about $12,000 to $15,000 for this ring and this cross. And I'll be dang if they got into our house. That was in a jewelry box. Got it out. The alarms never went off at all. So it's time to, you know, we want these alarm systems. We want to be able to use them, but for God's sakes, if there's something wrong, they need to maintain them. And that's why I'm here today. And I apologize, but I've done everything in the world, try to not go to this point, but I don't know any other way. And so here we are today. I'm hoping we can get some of these things fixed. I don't know how many people here has got alarm systems. I mean, probably a lot of you guys has got alarm systems in your homes or your businesses. I do. And sometimes you don't have any problems, and then you can go continuous. But Madam Chairman, the alarm system plays a critical role in the safeguarding of our homes and our businesses, provide sense of security and peace of mind in countless Nevadans. However, issues arise where the system becomes defective or inoperative, leaving the customer vulnerable and often bound to service to contracts that are often little resources. Currently, there is no obligations for alarm companies to address the manufacturing systems promptly, and that's the problem we're having, nor are those protections for customers from penalties for those choice to cancel services due to such malfunction. This gap in consumer protection can lead to significant financial and security concerns constituents. We had one of our colleagues in the Senate just recently, her back door was open for 2 to 3 days and didn't even know it because the alarm system wouldn't tell her. That's bad. So it's not just rural areas, it's Clark, it's Elko, it's Washoe, it's everywhere. Senate Bill 311, as amended, addressed these concerns that introduce special requirements for alarm companies that pursue to contract with the consumers, has installed the alarm systems as a customer's home or business, and changed the monthly fee, and they change a monitoring fee. Section 101 requires the company to act no later than 5 days. And to me, the 5 days is not an issue, long as they call and set up a time that says this is when we're going to be there. But that's how it come out in the Senate side. Was 5 days upon notification of the system a defective or inoperative to repair, replace the alarm system, or cancel the remaining of the contract and refund the unearned money paid by the consumer. Well, the problem is if you got to put thousands of dollars down for the equipment when you buy it. Just like me, I mean, I've got several, and instead of going in and financing it, I just pay for the equipment outright, have them put it in, and then they monitor it. But that's the problem, is getting it monitored. Cancel the remaining of the contracts, refund unearned monies paid back to the consumer. It says Section 2 had to prohibit the company from changing the customers any priorities, fees, or other costs of the cancellation. A consumer is also not liable for payments for the services after effective date of the cancellation of the contract. And this is the thing of it is, they'll hold you to that contract and sue you. That's some of the complaints that I'm getting back in Ely, Eureka, Tonopah, Hawthorne. Even though it's not working and they can't get somebody out there, they'll still sue them for the payments. This here is when we talk to the advocate system, is that if they can't repair them, all payments stop. Section 3 makes a violation of those provisions, defective trade practice, and we've already talked with the people at the AG's office, and Section 4 set forth the certain definitions, and finally, number 2, provided the bill provision applies to alarm companies that enter into a contract with consumer and alarm installation monitors or after October 1, 2025. Closing remarks is Senate Bill 311, a straightforward yet viable piece of legislation aimed at practice in Nevada who depend on alarm system for their safety by holding alarm companies accountable and functionally in the system to ensure fair treatment as customers in the congressional. And I'm trying to hurry through this, Madam. We can enhance truth to these services. I would like to thank you again for at least letting me to present the bill. I think it's something that's important. I'm gone a lot, and my wife's home by herself. I've done everything in the world to protect her safety. I've got electric gates, you name it, everything in the world that I could do. But if you have an alarm system, right now the alarm system I trust is 2 little dogs. And when they start yiping, then you know to look at the cameras and look around. But the problem is we pay for these systems in big money, we depend on them. And the seniors, when they call up and say, we have problems, this thing is not going off, and you're not even letting me know that somebody's been in my house. That's a problem I got. The seniors are so honorable with these systems, and they believe in them, they trust in them, and then when they fail, they're in trouble. And I thank you so much, Madam Chair, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Senator, for your presentation today in bringing forward a consumer protection bill. It is appreciated. Committee members, are there any questions? Assemblymember Hardy.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Senator. Good to see you. So I just wanted to make sure I understand. It says in the bill the company shall not later than 5 business days after receiving the notice. Is that you want them to at least set an appointment to come out, or they need to come out and have it repaired or replaced within those 5 days?
Thank you, Ms. Hardy. To go to you, Madam Chair. Okay, thank you. Ms. Hardy, what I thought it was is if we could get them to respond, but a lot of the people in the Senate said, no, we want them there. Well, I could understand that in Washoe and Vegas, but you imagine in some of the rural areas, they've got to schedule them. And we wouldn't care as long as we had a date after 5 days that they're going to be there in a certain time, but they're not. They're not showing up at all. And we've threatened, we've called, we've done everything in the world, but these people should be under a different type of government control that makes them, you know, they're selling thousands of these things monthly. So, you know, as long as they got there at a very quick time. Like I said, my businesses, I'd rather they be there right away, but sometimes you can't get them there. And I think it's so important, and the laundromat's been robbed twice. Our business has been broke into several times, and I own a little plaza, and they broke the windows out of them the other night in one of them. And then they busted the windows over at Dottie's out, and they didn't set off the alarms. But what did happen is my security cameras caught them. So, you know, I try to take everything I can, but yeah, you know, I wouldn't care as long as we could get them out there, and that's the problem we got. And my electrical company, they'll fix them if they'll send the parts, but you can't get them to send the parts. That's the problem. Thank you.
Assemblymember Cole.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Chair. So my question is related to defective or inoperative systems that were actually caused by user error, or like the customer actually did something that they shouldn't have done, or maybe didn't do the thing they were supposed to do, like replace a battery or something. There's no carve out for anything like that here.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. And what's good about it, I can get them on the phone usually and talk them through. And if I get calls from people that says their system's down, what should I do? We'll go up and look. We'll test everything for them for nothing, our company. But the biggest problem we have is they'll try to talk the people through to try to help them. You know, mostly like, you know, the magnetics for the doors. You open the door, it breaks a contact and calls them. So we can help them get to a lot of that stuff, and then the alarm companies will do that. But if they can't figure it out, they can't get it going, and they say, well, how soon can you get here? Well, we're not covering that area anymore. No, wait a minute, you're not. You have to cover it, and that's the biggest thing we hear. We're not maintaining them in the rules anymore. They're still selling them. They're still collecting a payment, but yet they are not servicing them. And that's what this is going to do, is even if they got a, you know, extended a week or whatever, they have to come and service them, and they're not doing that. Once they break, they're done. And that's a problem we have. And as far as batteries and stuff, a lot of times they'll just walk you through and send them to you, and you put the batteries in. But as far as getting in a truck and driving down there, that's the problem we got.
Speaker Yeager.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. Senator, good to see you. I had a couple of questions because I was looking at what happened over in the Senate, and it looks like you had proposed an amendment originally to limit this bill to not have it apply to counties of more than 100,000 people, but it doesn't look like that amendment got incorporated. So I'm just wondering if you could tell us about what happened with that proposal. And I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'm a little worried. If I call anyone in Las Vegas, I can't get them out in 5 business days. If I can get them out in 30 business days for an alarm issue, I'm probably, you know, doing a good job. So can you just talk about why that amendment did not make it into the bill?
And thank you so much, because that was so important, was getting it amended, because I figured that most of the people in Las Vegas and Washoe, they had the maintenance people here. And 3 of them testified that, no, we can get them fixed. We can get them out there. So we amended the bill. I don't know why it didn't get in here, but I will go down to legal and find out why it's not, because we wanted that amendment to include the whole state. And Vegas has got their own maintenance people. Reno's got their own people. But between the rules, they go by Salt Lake or Reno to work on all them companies. I caught 2 of them in my parking lot in their trucks and asked them if they'd take a look at some of these systems. And they said, no, because we don't have a work order. I said, you're right here, right now. You know, we can't work on them. And that's bad business. And we're not talking just one company. We're talking several different companies. But I totally agree with you, because that was one of the most important things. And when 3 of our clients, or 3 of our senators alone testified in that committee that they're having the same problem.
Could I ask a follow-up, Chair? Thank you, Senator Ellison. And then I looked back at the original version of the bill as you presented it, I guess as it was drafted originally, and it didn't have the 5 days. I think it just said as soon as practicable. And it looks like the 5 days was put in through an amendment in the work session document. I was just a little unclear, because it sounded to me like you said, as long as an appointment was on the calendar or they responded, you'd be okay with it. But when I read the bill, it doesn't say that. It says they have to, I think it says within 5 business days, they either have to repair or replace it, or they have to cancel the remainder of the contract and refund the unpaid money in advance or as a deposit. So I guess I just wanted to get a sense of what do you want this bill to say? Because it sounds like what you want it to say is not what the bill says.
That's correct, and I didn't catch that till you said that. Here's the problem I thought they were covered, but the 3 of my senators from Las Vegas, that's what the first thing they said. Hey, we're having the same problem. The ones in Washoe said the same problem. So we put that amendment in along with adding Vegas and Washoe into that bill, but it didn't get here. But yes, and I just thought if we could get somebody there, period, it'd be a miracle. But then the senators from Vegas said, no, we need to put that time down. And that's where that 5-day come from. And like I said, if you look at the 4th senator, that's when her doors were left open, and it didn't set off the alarms. But I agree with you 100%. It has to be in there. We've got to make them accountable for showing up, even if it's in Vegas, it's Washoe, it's whatever. But like I said, Pete Gogachia's put thousands and thousands of dollars into a system, in the best system you could buy, and they wouldn't even show up. So we've got to do something. And I'm more than happy. I thought I just took it for granted it was in there in what you had, but I will get it in there. But it needs to be that they have to respond within 5 days or show up in 5 days. Washoe and Vegas would be easy in 5 days. The rules would be a different story.
If I could, Chair, just to make a comment, I think that's what the bill does say right now. It says within 5 business days, and the bill as written does apply everywhere in the state. It just looked like, when I looked on the exhibits for the Senate, it looks like there was perhaps a proposal to not have it apply to counties over 100,000, which would have been, I think, Washoe and Clark. I don't know if Elko's over 100,000 by now, not yet. But just to get clear, you wanted to apply everywhere and within 5 business days, because that's what the bill in front of us says.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
And in Vegas and Washoe was one of the amendments that everybody wanted, is to make sure that we got the state. Because I had no idea they would have the same problems in Clark as we're having in Elko, but apparently they are. But thank you for bringing that up.
Assemblymember Yurick.
Thank you, Chair. One of my very esteemed colleagues already asked one of my questions, and so I think following the speaker's question, I think I also need now a little bit of clarity. So again, as the bill reads, it does require, or would apply to all counties. That is your intention. Would that be correct? Yes. Okay. And then secondarily, is the issue that you want them, and is your intent in this bill to have them simply show up within 5 days, or do you want the the system to be replaced or repaired to working order within 5 days? Can you just clarify that for us?
This button don't like me. What we're trying to do is Clark has got a large maintenance system with these people out there, and so is Reno and Vegas both. So I figured within 5 days they'd have to hit them. They're right there in their backyard. But you get to Ilko, that's one way is 5 hours if the weather's good, 8 hours if the weather's bad. So you're talking, and these guys they won't allow them to spend the night. So they're going to make them drive all the way down there, try to fix the alarm, and come back. And that's ridiculous when there's so many of them that are out. So we put that 5 in there, hoping that they would at least respond in the rules within that 5 days. And within 5 days, they hit every one of them ones in Clark and Washoe and show up on your doorstep. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen.
Okay, so I apologize. This is probably me, and I'm having trouble hearing what's going on here. But so it says right now that the system needs to be, let me see here, repaired or replaced within the 5 days.
Yes.
So can you just clarify, do you want this system to be repaired and replaced within 5 days?
Well, we would do that if we thought we could get them there. Here in Washoe and Vegas, you can. I think you can with this bill. But you get into rules, I don't think at least if they'd respond to you and say, okay, we're going to be there Monday morning, say you get the call back on a Friday, which is you let them know on a Monday, I think they're going to say, look, there's no way we can get there this week, so what if we made it the first of next week? These people would be happy. They're not getting them there at all.
Okay, so you'd be fine with a response within 5 days?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
I wish I could give you a better response, but we're having a problem.
Assemblymember Kasama.
Thank you, Senator. I would request that there is an amendment to the bill if right now what you're requesting is they respond in 5 days, because right now the bill doesn't say that. So if you would consider an amendment that they respond in 5 days and make a good faith effort to repair in 30 days or whatever it might be, because right now it says you have to repair in 5 days. And I just know, I live in Clark County, just because you live in Clark County doesn't mean you can get something repaired in 5 days, and we can't on most things. So I would ask your consideration for that.
And I'd accept that as a friendly amendment, because it's so important. I mean, some of these people out there in the rules, they might be months and months, if ever. But yet, if you try to quit payment because you can't get them fixed, they'll sue you, and that's the problem we're running into. They're suing people for something that don't work. Thank you so much.
Committee members, any additional questions? I don't see any. So, Senator, if you want to step back so I can start support testimony.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We will start with support testimony of Senate Bill 311 here in Carson City. I don't see anyone walking up. There's no one in Las Vegas broadcast. Is there anyone on the line?
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. We will move to testimony in opposition. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? Good afternoon. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Director of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber, here in opposition to SB 311. Want to echo some of the concerns that were raised by committee members, specifically Speaker Yeager, Assemblymember Cole, and Assemblymember Urick. We are concerned with the fact that this would require repairs within 5 days, as well as, if there's any user error, and specifically how that relates to Section 1, Subsection 3, which would make this a deceptive trade practice. We're happy to continue to work with the sponsor. We were originally on board with the pop cap amendment, as that would kind of help narrow it down to the rural areas where there isn't service provided anymore. But happy to continue working on that to see if our concerns can be mitigated. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? Don't see anyone. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral of Senate Bill 311? I don't see anyone. No one's in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you. Senator, would you like to give any final remarks?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for hearing this bill. I really appreciate it. When the chamber come to us and said they wanted to exclude Clark, when the senators testified in that committee, they were having the same problem we were in the rolls. They couldn't get him out there. So that's when that change was, that added Clark and Washoe back in there, because they're having the same problem we are. And I can't believe that the Chamber of Commerce and all the people that they have down there that has alarm systems that are out, they wouldn't want their constituents to be protected. And that's where we're at today. We're just trying to get a company to service the people and the constituents that we represent. And can I ask one dumb question? How many people in here has got alarm systems? I mean, there's 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's so important when you depend on it for your family when you're gone and you can't get them repaired. That's a problem with me. And I thank you so much for hearing.
Thank you, Senator, for being with us this afternoon. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 311. I will now open the hearing on Senate Bill 437, which enacts provisions relating to internet consumer lenders. Good afternoon. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Chair Marzola, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Ben Kiekeffer with BRK Nevada. I'm here today representing the companies Upstart and Affirm in support of Senate Bill 437. I'm joined at the table by Jesse Wadhams with the law firm Black & Wadhams, and we jointly represent both companies. And in a few moments, I'll turn it over to Jesse to provide a little bit more context about them. But let me start by saying thank you for the committee's time and attention to this legislation today. We think that this bill is an important change in our statutes to modernize Nevada's lending laws to expand access to credit for many Nevadans who are currently unbanked and underbanked. During the 2019 legislative session, the legislature passed Senate Bill 161, which was creating a regulatory sandbox for financial technology companies. At the time, an amendment was proposed by representatives of the company Intuit, which had a product to make loans to its business customers. However, the company identified a barrier in Nevada's laws that prevented them from rolling out that product to its customers. And that barrier was a requirement that installment lenders have a brick and mortar physical presence in the state and that no other business but lending be done out of that office. Senate Bill 161 was then amended to include a new definition of internet lender and created an exemption to this brick and mortar requirement to allow for the issuance of business loans via the internet. It was always intended that this exemption at the time would apply only to business loans, and an update to statute was done following the 2019 session to clarify that intent. Subsequently, during the 2021 session, another bill came forward that was very similar to the one before you today, that would have expanded the idea of internet lending to include direct-to-consumer lending. Unfortunately, this bill got caught up in the process and did not make through. So I believe that we didn't hear anything about this matter in 2023, which brings us to today, where we are asking you to consider bringing Nevada statutes on installment loans into modern times that recognizes the fact that consumers conduct their business through the internet and that not all businesses, including lenders, should need a physical location in the state in order to do business here. The bill before you today does a few key things, and I'll walk through them, but broadly, we are proposing to update and modernize Chapter 675 of NRS, which governs installment loans. First, SB 437 creates a new definition for internet consumer lender, which is defined in Section 2 of the bill, to mean a person who makes, solicits, brokers, arranges, or facilitates consumer loans exclusively through the internet. And I'd like to say here a big thank you to the Financial Institutions Division, which helped us craft this definition to make sure it met their needs and captured all of the activities they currently regulate. Second, the bill creates an exemption to the brick and mortar requirement for internet consumer lenders that is consistent with the current exemption for internet business lenders, and you'd find that in section 3, subsection 3A of the bill. These two components then work together to allow internet consumer lenders like Upstart and Affirm and others to offer direct-to-consumer loans in Nevada without being required to have a brick-and-mortar presence in the state. This requirement is a barrier to doing business here, and it's unique to Nevada. We're the only state that requires this, and it's simply no longer necessary. The final significant policy component of Senate Bill 437 is found in Section 1, which requires that any loan or contract issued by an internet consumer lender be governed by the laws of the state of Nevada to the extent that they are not preempted by federal law. We believe that this addition is a strong consumer protection for the residents of the state. We worked on this with the Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada, and you will find a letter from Legal Aid in the exhibits tab of this meeting in support of the legislation, thanks to that work. The only other change to the statute in the bill is in Section 4, which clarifies that internet consumer lenders can conduct business out of offices where other types of business is happening, and that's consistent with what we've seen under the internet business lender definition. So before I hand it over to Jesse to talk a little bit about Upstart, I think it's important to note that offering loans in Nevada under these new provisions would fall entirely under the full regulatory control of the Nevada Division of Financial Institutions. There's no change in the licensing, regulatory, or oversight requirement for these companies. All existing consumer protections remain in place, and for these specific loans, I think are actually enhanced. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Jesse to talk a little bit about Upstart.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola, members of the committee. Jesse Wadhams with the law firm of Black & Wadhams here today on behalf of Upstart. And just to add a little bit to my colleague Senator Kekeffer's statements, just about Upstart. Upstart is the leading fintech marketplace in lending, connecting millions of consumers to more than 100 community banks and credit unions that leverage Upstart's underwriting models and cloud applications. And to deliver to consumers superior credit products. Lenders working through Upstart can approve more borrowers at lower rates while delivering the exceptional digital-first experience that consumers demand. The platform includes personal loans, auto, retail, refinance loans, home equity lines of credit, and small dollar relief loans. These loans are used to consolidate debt, refinance out of high-cost credit card debt, auto refinancing, home improvements, and medical bills. Nevada, as Senator Kekeffer mentioned in his presentation, Nevada is the only state that requires institutions seeking a lending license to maintain a physical brick and mortar location in Nevada. Simply put, 437 is a modernization bill that removes this archaic provision. Ultimately, this bill does not remove any additional licensing requirements or loosen any regulations. So we thank you for your time and the opportunity to present the bill. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. We'll start with Assemblymember Cole.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. So my question is in the definition. So you've got consumer credit has the meaning ascribed to it in NRS 604A.036. And then further down in number 12, you've got internet consumer lender facilitates consumer loans. I'm wondering if that should be consumer credit, because I don't see a defined term that's consumer loans. And of course, you don't have to answer on the fly. You can look at it later, but I think you need to change that. Thank you.
Chair Marzola, through you to Member Cole, I certainly appreciate the attention to detail on that. The definition that we did work through was in consultation with the Financial Institutions Division, who's the regulator in this space. They feel comfortable with the definition. So I don't have a good answer for you, but I can try to circle back.
Committee members, any additional questions? I don't see any. And so I just want to make it super clear for the record, even though there's not going to be a brick and mortar place of business here, the establishment still has to be licensed by the Commissioner of Financial Institution. Is that correct?
Ben Kiekefer for the record, Chair Marzullo, absolutely. In order to issue loans under this chapter, you have to receive a license under this chapter by the Division of Financial Institutions.
Thank you.
Go
ahead.
If I may, Chair Marzola, Jesse Wadhams, I think, again, and that's another piece of that Section 1 component, it brings all of those contracts within the parameters of Nevada law, so it puts that choice of law component in.
No, and I appreciate that, and I just wanted to ask it on the record so it can be crystal clear. And my second question is that the choice of law, it's Nevada that governs, correct?
Ben Kiekefer for the record, absolutely. That's what's added in Section 1. We wouldn't want Nevada consumers to have to go try to fight in court in another state if a company was headquartered there. So we are bringing it specifically to Nevada.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, and that's why I asked. Any additional questions? I don't see any. So we will start with support testimony. Give you guys a couple seconds. We will start in Carson City. Is there anyone here who would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 437? I don't see anyone. There's no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no callers for support at this time.
Thank you. We will move to testimony in opposition of Senate Bill 437. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? I don't see anyone. There's no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
We will move to neutral testimony. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral? Don't see anyone. There's no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 437. I will now open up for public comment. Please address your remarks to issues that fall within the jurisdiction of this committee. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to give public comment? I don't see anyone. There's no one in Las Vegas. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. Our public line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting for today. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, May 7th. This meeting's adjourned. Ooh.